There seems to be disagreement tonight among the state's top GOP leaders over the importance of making Wisconsin a right-to-work state. Governor Walker said yesterday he hopes Republican leaders in the state don't focus on passing the legislation, which would make employee membership in private sector unions optional. Now, Walker said last night that right to work would be a distraction from priorities like balancing a budget, tax reform, and other steps to help the state's economy. But the top Republican in the state Senate made it very clear today that right to work legislation is not only coming, it'll be a priority early next year. Capitol Bureau Chief Greg Newman has you covered on tonight's top story.
Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald says the impetus for right-to-work legislation didn't just come from Republican legislators, but from their constituents.
I think out on the campaign trail this summer, many of the candidates as well as the senators that were reelected continued to hear, the question, are you going to do the right-to-work stuff and how are you going to do it?
That legislation would guarantee no person could be compelled to join a private sector union or pay dues to one as a condition of employment.
24 states have some form or version of it, and we want to have that debate. We want to have that discussion about whether or not it makes sense for Wisconsin.
The right hand doesn't quite agree with what the far right hand is doing in his party.
Senate Minority Leader Jennifer Schilling agrees with Governor Walker, who calls the legislation a distraction. The head of one of the biggest labor unions in the area agrees.
I think that there'll be a big outcry, and I think that we really need to focus on jobs and growing the economy and to stay away from this legislation.
Dave Branson says a repeat of the 2011 Act 10 protests could become a reality.
So that's a real concern. I mean, the converse of that would be that, hey, people think that we're on the right track and we're doing the right things in Wisconsin, and certainly I think proponents of right-to-work legislation would say, that's why it's time to take a look at this.
The earliest this bill could be put forward would be January 5th, but all indications are it will come on that day or very soon afterwards. At the Capitol, Greg Newman, 27 News.
Senator Fitzgerald says some of the trades unions could be exempted from this bill specifically because they're involved in developing and providing technical college training in areas like plumbing, carpentry, and steam fitting.